reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
ESO Reporter is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter to get your first month free. Member benefits include one free audiobook per month. Members save 30% on additional purchases, and it includes free digital subscriptions to the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. Again, go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter and get 1 month free trial. It's the weekend. You know what that means? ESO Reporter Podcast number 3. Greenland's #1 transatlantic source of information on the Elder Scrolls Online. Welcome, everyone, including my favorite co-hosts, Teppo and Jen.
Hello. I was first.
You were first.
Wow, you were there
first. It's because he loves you more than he loves me. Okay.
Everyone loves Teppo.
Everyone does love some Teppo.
Just which bit? You see the back of my head as I'm walking away. They love seeing that.
Do you know I love living in Greenland?
You know, we're going to have them on the phone at some point going, what is this you're getting us into?
I would do the accent, but I don't think Brecky would appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't think he would. He did find your Icelandic, and I used that in the broadest possible sense, accent, hilarious.
I thought it was quite good.
Icelandic? Is that like a Scandinavian type accent, or what is that? Because I can do that.
Go on.
Go on.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
That's better than hers.
You kind of sound like the Swedish chef.
Swedish.
But that's okay.
Everyone sounds like the Swedish.
That guy?
Country stores. Yes, that guy.
Well, it is March 7th, 2014, and we are approaching quickly the release of our anticipated game of Elder Scrolls Online. And I tell you what, going through the beta last weekend, I think we could wait a little longer.
Oh. We need some really dramatic music coming in.
Dun dun.
So I don't, speak for you guys, of course, or anyone else, but you all know from listening, if you've listened to the first few podcasts of ours, that I'm probably the most unabashed fanboy of the bunch, and I was disappointed, to say the least. I would have thought the game had been further along by this point, and maybe it is, and we just didn't see the actual updated version. But I got tired of seeing half bodies sticking out of the ground and missions that couldn't get completed.
Is this the point where we need to insert ouch?
I think so.
Okay.
But I still hold out hope. I have a feeling that we're just... I just want to think that wasn't the version that's actually, ready for release. The lag was horrendous. I played in PvP and PvE. The PvE had no lag at all, but the PvE you couldn't play it.
Wow.
It was unplayable. Yeah, unless you were in an area with nobody, and of course then it was fine. But you would expect that.
I love playing MMOs without anybody else in them.
Yeah, they're fun, aren't they? Might as well play Skyrim in that case.
Yes. Or come watch me be terrible in Oblivion on Wednesday night. Equally fun.
I missed you this Wednesday, last Wednesday. So, okay, on a serious note,
yes.
On a serious note, and being, the nice guy that you are, because you were a nice guy, what did you find, what really annoyed you about this weekend, primarily? What was going on?
This one thought, by the way, that's my Khajiit voice. I'm trying to build my Khajiit voice up. This one thought that the probably most annoying part about the game was the missions that you would run through all the different steps get to the final step, boss, whatever it is, puzzle, whatever, and it was borked. Borked meaning broken, meaning unable to complete, meaning no experience points, meaning no advancement, meaning frustration, meaning leaving the computer, meaning swearing, meaning
Oh.
yeah. It just was. I mean, and of course, okay, it's beta, right? It's beta. I get that. I'm not, I get that, but a month and a half or a month before release, I just and it happened in the starting area. So we're not talking about, I'm level 30 and it's happening in, far along in the game. It's the starting, once you get off the island, the starting first zone, and on 6 of the primary missions.
That's quite disturbing, actually, especially since everyone has to go through the starting missions.
Aldmeri Dominion, maybe the other 2 areas didn't have it. When we invite comments on this, of course, I'm sure I'm going to drum up some from being so critical. But if you didn't have any of those issues in Daggerfall Covenant, or what's the other one?
Aldemari.
No, Ebonheart.
Ebonheart.
Oh, Ebonheart. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Ebonheart. Yeah.
Or if you had none in Aldemari and it was just Svven, because Svven has issues,
Sven does have issues.
Yeah.
No, I've experienced these problems in previous. I didn't get to play at all this weekend. I was busy, but I know real life it's a terrible thing.
Brutal.
But in the previous, I'd had 2 beta weekends, or I guess it's 3 beta weekends ago now.
Yeah.
Ran into some problems up on a mountain or something, where a couple of quests I couldn't finish.
Oh, are you talking? Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then 2 weekends ago, they'd fixed that because you and I, Jen, went off and we actually did those missions.
Yes, which was quite nice.
But they'd broken a different one in Ebonheart. And it almost seems like maybe they just took a step backwards. Maybe they changed something that had more of a knock-on effect than they're expecting, or maybe it was just to do with the lag. I don't know. Didn't get to play this weekend, but it's not brilliant news.
No,
that's
27 days from launch?
Yeah, that's not promising. So. That's not very promising at all.
Well, and think about pre-launch, right? Because we're 5 days prior.
Of course.
We're probably only
22 days.
Yeah, right. Okay, so here's my opinion. If you can't fix it all, and you can't delay it because, of course, the people above say you got to release the game, at least have funny bugs.
Funny bugs.
Funny, but like Skyrim has, or like Oblivion has. At least make me laugh. Don't haul me through the whole mission and then screw me over.
Yeah. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of devs and testers up 24 hours, 7 days a week for the next 3 weeks, mostly.
Yeah, that's tough life. But I mean, I mean that seriously. I'm not just being.
Yeah. It is. It's a shame, though, isn't it? Because I think that's the last position they want to. They don't want to find themselves in that position either.
It's a beautiful game, right? I mean, it's a beautiful game. I don't think there's another. I'm subjective, obviously. I don't think there's another game this beautiful right now, MMO wise, on the market.
Oh yeah, I agree. I
would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also say maybe it might be just. Maybe I'm being a bit too optimistic, but it might be as easy as just saying instead of having 2 massive servers, we'll have 3 or 4. Might actually stop things. But I mean, if it's quest things and stuff like that, it's probably.
I mean, they're mega service, so it's sort of shard technology.
Yeah.
So though they're under one umbrella, it is multiple servers running under their instanced areas and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that is going to be the main issue there.
Yeah, and this, I think, Teppo, you probably talked at this a couple podcasts ago. This is their first major game release, isn't ZeniMax?
The ZeniMax Online, this is the only thing they've done. Now they've got some old talent on there. They've got some people from other projects, and from what I've seen, I think when we started this, I said I was very impressed with what they'd done. As this being the only thing they've done, they've made an engine and they've made an MMO, and it works bloody brilliant for like a first attempt. SWTOR didn't do as good as
No,
this.
I don't think
No,
so.
it didn't.
Initially,
No.
in terms of a whole package of a game and it being working sort of out of the box and how well the engine works and how pretty it is.
To be fair, everyone likes to glorify WoW so much, but when WoW first came out, that had loads of problems. The only reason why it runs so smoothly now is because it has 10 years under its belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's still advertised the features they advertised on the box original WoW, which they haven't implemented yet.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But why do you think that when the three of us played 3 betas ago, or we got? Did we have many missions that were borked? I don't remember many.
I remember 2.
Oh yeah,
maybe 3.
Yeah, there were about 2 or 3. I mean,
not many.
And it was a different area. We were in Ebonheart Pact, right?
Yes.
The North.
Yes.
That might be part of it. But Cal, I feel like it regressed, especially PvP. When Teppo and Jen, when you and I we didn't spend much time. We spent a little time PvP together. I didn't sense any issues whatsoever. I mean, it was smooth. Response time.
Get my ass kicked, but no.
Yeah, right. But response time was no problem. I mean, it was no issue at all. This was, and I mean literally unplayable.
Yeah, it's probably likely. Was it you or was it Teppo who said it's probably likely that they've implemented something and it's made things go a bit wobbly.
I just wonder, a month before, and I put this in the post on Facebook, a month before release, when you're trying to promote the game and you have all these podcasts streaming your game, and you have all these Twitch TV sites, you have everything going on, why would you throw that out there? I'm shocked. I'm really surprised. I hope I'm equally surprised of 180 when release time comes.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is it's still a beta, and yes, it's scary because it is only a month before release. But obviously, they're forever tweaking it and forever implementing things and fixing things. And unfortunately, with bugs, you're going to get bugs in there that are going to affect other things in the system, in the game. So that's probably more likely what happened because they're constantly tweaking it. Which means, unfortunately, if you're constantly tweaking it, and it needs to be constantly tweaked, obviously, because they want as perfect as they can get it, you're going to have problems like that. It's just the way it is, really.
Yep. I think we'll finish this up just because I don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be. But ZeniMax, if you are listening, I love your game. I love the game. I am going to keep playing the game as long as I can, as long as I'm able to play it, and it will let me, actually complete missions and stuff. But goodness gracious, I mean, this is you know it more. I don't have to tell you this. This is your butts on the line. Let's get this thing where it's playable and fun again. And,
what Sven isn't telling you, if you don't get it sorted, he's going to curse the screen.
I am. I'll walk away.
And it takes a lot to get him angry.
It does.
It really does, honestly.
I pretend to be so mild-mannered, but when it comes down to it, I like anyone else, I want to play a game that isn't constantly interrupted by hiccups and bugs and stuff, even at release.
Of course you do. And the fact of the matter is, everyone, I mean, if you're paying for a game and you're paying for a specific product, you want that product to work.
Yep.
It's not crazy. It's just how it is, really.
Yep. I mean, it's an issue that affects pretty much all software, particularly computer games. You wouldn't get away with it in, say, the automotive industry or whatever. But we are suckers.
Ask Chevy about that. Ask GM about that.
Well, okay, maybe not quite as catastrophically as you get, particularly MMOs. We are suckers for giving them our money and accepting broken products.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're right, Tep, because I think we're moving into an area now where we actually are giving them money for broken products. When we give them money for these things, we do expect them after so long that they're going to be perfect. It's kind of scary. You're absolutely. Right. I mean, that's a really good point.
If you're buying a game at say $50, $50 US, right? And even if you're taking a very broad-minded view to it, going, okay, it's going to be like 80% complete, it's still going to be bugging and whatever, I'll hang on for 6-8 months, and then it'll be fine. People seem to forget at that point you have effectively doubled the cost of the product.
Absolutely, yeah.
doubling what you're paying before you get to the final deal. That may be fine for you. A lot of people aren't too bothered by it, and I guess if you're not bothered, that's fine for you on a personal level. But as a general trend, it's not helping, not helping the industry get any better.
No, it's not. I
No,
think
it's-
that. Oh, sorry, Sven.
No, go, Jen. You started. Yeah.
No,
go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, I think really what they need to do in the industry is they need to stop giving people broken products. I know it's very difficult to do, but, let's face it, as much as I love the game and as much as we all love the game, at this point, with 3 weeks to go, the product shouldn't be that broken. You expect a couple of things here and there, but,
Yep.
How
How about a flexible release? Because everything's digital now,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You don't have to have the hard copy of the game. In fact, even if they sent you the hard copy of the game, it's just going to link you to a digital download for
Absolutely.
the latest patch. So how about saying, okay, so, here's our goal, April 5th or whatever, 4th is released. But you know what? We're not going to release this game until it's ready, knowing that there's still going to be a couple things once in a while. I mean, that's okay. But pushing it until that game is absolutely ready so that when you release it, you can charge $15 a month, 30 days after, whatever,
Yes.
and still feel like you're not screwing over your customer. And I don't want to talk to Square Enix about Final Fantasy 14 the first time.
14.
But I think
Yeah.
I think the problem comes as well as that it's a common problem, isn't it? That we are not reading the fine print in these agreements because in the teeny little letters they say things like not only give your soul to us, but basically, you need to expect these hiccups. You're accepting the fact that these are going to be difficulties and problems. I think at the end of the day, if you don't want that, don't sign the user agreement.
There's a good friend that we all share that I hate to give credit for this because, of course, I don't want his head to get bigger, but he said something about a 3-month rule.
We bring that up all the time. Don't we?
Yeah, Van Hemlock. I'm okay with giving him credit for that. It's just on the
Good old
rare
Tim.
occasions it totally backfires on him. No, the 3-month rules are fairly sensible with online games. The other thing to consider, maybe perhaps being a bit too serious, so we always look at things as between our relationship as gamers, between that of the company who's making the game and providing the game for us to play. So there are there's things they could do, with sort of, like soft launching and all this kind of stuff that we've just mentioned. But you mustn't forget that they're usually not the bad guys,
That's true.
and they have investors to answer to,
Yep.
and quite often it's like publishers and things which have put the real pressure on, as I understand it, forcing them to nail down a release date, forcing them to end up in a particular quarter or a particular place inside a financial quarter.
But
that causes some of the fuss.
Teppo, how come the powers that be in the game devs can't make the argument, the intelligent argument, that look, we understand you want it released here, and we understand that you want to make money, but if we hold that next 30 days or 45 days or whatever it takes, yes, you'll have to delay that, that first initial outlay a month or 2 months or whatever it might be, but long term, your income is going to be far greater because you'll have such a solid release.
But can I, if it's okay, I know the question was to Teppo, but generally, let's look at, I'm software development. Unfortunately, in software, and I'm not just talking about gaming, I'm talking about software development, you need to set people a deadline or the stuff doesn't get finished. Because there's always something that needs fixing. So unfortunately, you do have to go, right, we need this deadline. This is our deadline. You need to make sure that you reach this deadline. And if you don't, your funding is going to be taken away. So
yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't mean to. Teppo, did you have anything on that?
Well, I mean, I could talk forever about software development and how normal testing needs to be done, and how testing's always seems like the last thing that needs to be done. But from a business perspective, sometimes there isn't scope for that kind of reasoning, whether it's because that product is fitting into a larger portfolio for these investors saying, okay, well, I need something to fill that gap this quarter or this year. You have to launch it. Or whether it's And this does have some effect. I'm not saying all business people are raging egomaniacs, but there is a reason why they've become so powerful.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't reason with people.
No,
So
right.
they just that it's their idea and that's how it's going to be. And there's loads of different reasons for that, and some of them are good and most of them are bad. But if we all lived in a reasonable world, we wouldn't have such trouble.
Yes, i.e.
Yeah.
Ukraine. So I'm going to finish it up because we've gone quite a bit on this, and I think it's all valid. But Teppo, you made I don't remember where it was, if it was on one of your other podcasts or if it was here early on. You made a great point that I've thought about over and over again with this.
Oh.
I don't think about you, just your.
He thinks about you all the time.
Just my point.
You
Is
see
that
exactly.
It's obviously your animal magnetism.
Your 5.1 centimeters. I've heard some think about, but anyway.
Centimeters?
5.1
Wow.
centimeters. I don't. Okay, yeah.
That's that. Moving on.
April 4th happens to be at the beginning of a fiscal quarter, which lends a lot of time to be able to be flexible.
I think that's.
Is it too late for that?
It is now, I think. They could. I mean, they could still put it back. I would say up to the last month. They could say, but in their last month now, this month will have been scheduled out work-wise. Something crazy will have to happen for them to come out in the next sort of week or two and say, look, we're going to push it back a month, or 2 months, or just a week, or something. It would have to be an unforeseen thing. Before the last month comes in, where because their payroll department's already sorting out the time slips, and they're already organised their time and stuff. Before now, I would have said, there is some scope. The other thing that's putting at the financial beginning of a financial year and new quarter is they also get the entire of that quarter's numbers. So sometimes if you release at the end of a quarter or whatever, you'll get all the peak in that quarter, and then you won't get the rest of the people who sort of bought it a week later because all their friends are buying it.
Yeah.
But you're going to get all of that, so it's going to look really good, whatever happens. As long as people buy it, it'll look great.
And I'd like to add that it's nice of you, Svven. It's nice that you listen to Emma Musketeers, because I think we discussed it there.
Yeah, of course I do. So
I mean, you can't throw a Khajiit around without hitting a podcast that I've been on recently.
Oh, obviously, yeah, because you're so popular.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just really easy. All our first, second, and third choices are away or sick
there
or
you go,
dying
girls.
or something.
So I have tried
guys.
to wrap this guy up 3 times. This not you. This the subject.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I know. Do you want me to change the subject? Because I'm really good at changing subjects.
No, you can. But I want to just say this. I actually still think.
Wants to close it like a chat show host.
Exactly.
Like a little moral of the day.
Okay.
This one thinks that this is going to surprise the hell out of us and be a fantastic release. That's where I'm going to end up.
Cool. Well, I'm going to take the middle ground because that's what I do. I'm going to play devil's advocate. We'll see. How about you, Tep? Where do you stand?
Me, I'm seldom surprised.
That's okay.
You don't tend to get excited about stuff either. I'm really jaded.
He is. He's quite jaded. I'm normally the
when it comes to
excitable
computer games.
But Svven, you can take the excitement for us. I'm sure it'll be fine. To be honest, I'm sure it will be fine. They'll have people working really hard trying to get it ready for release.
As much as we've milked this for 20 minutes of excellent content, at the end of the day, it's one data point, it's 1 weekend, it doesn't make a pattern. Just saying.
Exactly.
But yeah, good times.
Right.
What do we have?
Oh,
no.
Let's go to the news. So for starters, we've got a few things to top on. To top on.
To top on?
Top on.
To top on.
We've got
discuss.
a couple of things to top on.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I have no idea. With
Director, whatever you want to name the title for Morrowind through Skyrim.
All right, cool.
And he also had some, and this is what's really interesting, Ty, and he also had a lot to do with Guild Wars original. And I believe, I don't know, but I believe a lot of the influence from that set of games obviously has gotten into the Elder Scrolls Online. And how do you avoid Lord of the Rings, music when you are part of that kind of generation? I mean, it's almost impossible, isn't it?
I think this is part of my problem, and I've had this conversation on the podcast about Jennifer Hale.
Yeah.
I love Jennifer Hale.
Hale's amazing.
Right, she's fantastic, and she has a great voice. And I first encountered her that I recalled, or I realized she was in other things before. But the first thing I really recognized her as a particular entity was in the Mass Effect game. She really brings something to the fem shep, female commander shep, and that she's freaking everywhere.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the problem with Jeremy Soule.
Yep.
Is he's done quite a lot of these things. So there's a certain flavor he brings to these things, which is somewhat the same. Not totally. I mean, the guy's original and he's very talented. But there's something similar that he brings to it. And the same is true a bit with Inon Zur, who did the Baldur's Gate 2 and Dark Age Origins music. There are some similarities. I mean, he's also done a load of stuff for different games and whatever. I don't rate... After having listened to it in so many games, I don't really rate Soule's stuff as highly as perhaps I used to. Just used to it,
yeah.
I guess. But I don't really listen to music in MMOs that much.
Oh, I love music. I listen to music all the time.
Oh, me too.
I love soundtracks.
Yeah.
I thought it was you, Tep, that really liked Hans Zimmer's Last Samurai soundtrack. So you have some taste.
So good.
It's amazing.
I listen to all kinds of stuff.
It is
though.
amazing.
I mean, but yeah, I really like Last Samurai soundtrack. The movie was okay, but the soundtrack was excellent. Yeah, historically I've never really listened to the music while playing MMOs. I only really started doing it a bit more recently, but back in the day I used to listen to my own music or whatever. Nowadays I listen to podcasts while playing MMOs or talk to people.
Really?
And if I'm talking to people, I might have the game music on, but at a very low level. Because I'm rarely playing MMOs on my own these days.
That's interesting because I cannot play an MMO without music. I am bored by it.
Really?
I get immersed. In fact, okay, so this is weird, but I actually prefer the mission and questing part of it on my own, listening to music and going through it without actually playing with anybody else. I prefer that.
Oh, well, screw you then, hippie.
Yeah, that's the Khajiit. This one. No, I mean I love playing with you guys, but but when it comes to most missions and stuff, I'd much rather I get probably too far into the actual mission, I think, and I want to experience that specific mission. I read the text or listen to it, whatever it is, and the music. If it's good music, if it's well done, it follows along, and you can feel the crescendos and decrescendos and all that kind of thing as you go along.
Good music makes a hell of a difference.
Hell of a difference.
Good sound design, I think, makes more of it.
Oh, I agree with you there too.
So and so not just the music, but also the environment, or whatever. But when they change, so the move from music to like combat music,
yes,
that's really important.
I think this game does a good job of that so far.
Yeah, it does a very good job at blending, doesn't it? Blending music and blending ambient sounds. I think it's very well done.
I've not noticed.
You've not noticed, really? Have you?
No, I don't. I don't play the game in silence, but I do.
You're doing other things.
I'm listening to other things usually. It depends. If I'm playing a game which is highly voice acted, obviously I can't listen to a podcast while I'm doing that, and I usually won't listen to other music while doing that. So I might have the game music on, but even with the game music on, I run into something like that you just said, Sen, is I get bored more quickly playing on my own with the game music on. I get bored even quicker with the game music off playing on my own, sure, but I just I'm used to playing games with people now so
Yeah.
much that
I have to say, Tep, I have to agree with you. There used to be a time where I really enjoyed playing games by myself, but now I prefer to play with my friends. I have so much more fun that way. And unfortunately, as you were saying as well, Tep, because of that, I don't really listen to the music when I'm playing with other people because obviously the music is down because I want to hear my friends. But there used to be a time when I would like just run through games and listen to soundtracks and things as well as background.
Mhm.
But yeah, I much prefer friends now.
So
bizarrely, sorry to just join that, Sven. I was playing Rome Total War 2 with the game music down all the way, muted, while the Skyrim soundtrack was playing today. That was just a weird mix.
By the way, Rome Total War, if you guys haven't played it, it's a very good game.
It's a great
Awesome
I haven't played. Just Medieval 2 is the only one I played. I was talking to Teppo about that earlier, which I love.
Yeah.
Great game.
Rome Total War 2 is awesome. Shogun is also another really good game.
Now they've patched Rome 2.
Oh, God.
Times.
Talk about buggy.
It's good.
So back to ESO.
Anyway,
But yes.
sorry, there you go.
The score was actually I was just doing some research actually as you guys were talking. Not that I wasn't listening.
Well, no, obviously we know you don't listen to us now. But you said when you're in games.
We just
Listen to the music.
conveyances for his ideas. That's all we are.
Exactly.
This
We're
one
just sounding boards.
This one prefers to play by himself, not with them. I'm kidding. The in-game score was composed by Brad Derrick and Rick Schaefer, and I did some research. Brad Derrick was Warhammer's music director, composer.
Now, is his name Brad Derrick, or is it like two different people?
No, Brad Derrick, Derrick. Rick Schaefer, Rik, is the other individual. They say both longtime veterans and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, long story short, yeah, a lot of that. But what I found fascinating is if the article on the ESO official site is accurate, which I would assume it is, they were looking at the blend of two extremes. But one extreme, I'm just going to quote it from here. We had one music system that was capable of adapting to gameplay on a measure-by-measure basis, but it proved almost prohibitively difficult to work with and didn't yield very satisfying results. At the other extreme, we tried a system that prioritized musicality over adaptability. So we ended up with a lot of lovely music that played out from start to finish, ignoring and steamrolling over the action of the game. So it's very similar to what we were talking about, I think what Teppo was referring to. What did you actually use as your term, Teppo?
So, combat music.
Yeah.
When that comes in, it sort of blends between them.
Yeah. But you didn't say, it wasn't the score that you mentioned a different term.
Oh, sound design.
Sound design, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And they say, we eventually found our sweet spot between the need of flexibility and importance of having an Elder Scrolls-worthy soundtrack that doesn't wear out its welcome over many hours of gameplay. But I think, just from the initial playing that I've had, it actually does lean more towards adapting. I felt it has. You can sense right away when you've got an enemy close by, I think, so far. And I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can usually sense when there's an enemy nearby because I actually, observe my environment, unlike some people.
And you can observe with different senses.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I notice it more in shooters. The hearing is really important. You can hear footsteps or the direction of gunfire and things like that. That's awesome. But but yeah, I just haven't. Maybe it is because I have been playing Elder Scrolls almost exclusively with at least one or both of you in the beta weekends. I've hardly played it alone at all. That's probably why I haven't really noticed the music.
Because he was listening to my voice.
Pretty much.
Which is far better.
I see.
Well, it's certainly...
Check.